Guitarists, listen. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are. You join me in a quiet, soon to be louder corner in the summer in the United Kingdom. This one, as ever, is for organ players, but more importantly today, this one is for guitarists. Have you ever been in a recording studio and seen this bit of furniture? Maybe you put your coffee on it. Cheese sandwich. It's what it's made for. Well, it has another use. It is an old amplifier that's been used for years for the Hammond organ and other organs. And it is unique. It gives a very unique sound. Very unique. It gives a unique sound. And I'm here to show you what that sound is and why you should use it in the studio, the pitfalls of using a vintage one, and then the Young Pretender, the new one, how to use this one, put this on your studio rider. It's made for the job. Let's have a bit of a look, shall we? Okay, so this is a 1974 Leslie 145, and immediately what you see, standard amplifier, you know, valves and all that kind of stuff that you want to see. And then over here, you've got moving parts, haven't you? Which is bizarre. Now, what are those moving parts going to do for you? They're essentially going to give you a chorus and a tremolo sound, but you will get an authentic 60s and 70s sound when you do that. You may want to use it to replace chorus or tremolo. You may want to use it as an effect all of its own, which I totally recommend. Or just use the beautiful sort of slow rotor sound and the vintage sort of tone of the organ and that beautiful 40 watt class ZZZZ valve amp that's down the bottom there. So in the corner of the studio there may be a piece of furniture like this. The studio owner might say to you, it hasn't worked for years. A lot of people say that's a very common phrase, and the reason why it's common is because natively this is powered by the Hammond organ or the organ. And when the organ no longer lives or is no longer available or was too big or too heavy, they got rid of that. Here's the amplifier. But this big old cable here takes with it the fast, slow, the chorus, the tremolo, the signal and the power. This is not an earthed device. So, as ever, if you're messing with one of those, talk to, or even better, be a qualified electrician. What you will find often, they've been modified in studios to have their own power, and mine has as well. If you can see that, I'm probably sat in the way of it, aren't I? But it's been modified to have its own power, so we've got over that hurdle. The second thing in this big old sort of pin of cables that comes from the organ, there was the power, there was a fast, slow, and there was a signal. So we need to get the signal out as well. Behind, in the amp, reasonably simple modification to split out that signal so that you can have a 1/4" jack input. Okay, now, it's all sounding a bit difficult, but bear with me, it's going to get easier. So here we have a vintage cab with a vintage tone that has been modified for 1/4" jack and power. That means you can use it on a guitar. My fast slow switch, this is usually sat behind the organ player, gaffered on to the side of the organ, and you flick it and wind comes. But more importantly, things start to move fast. There's a speaker in there, a treble speaker, that fires up into this rotating cone. One side is a counterweight, the other side is a hole. So you get a Doppler effect as it spins away from you, slow or fast. Down here, similarly but differently, you have a speaker going down and you have a rotating drum with a cutaway. So it's on, off, on, off, on, off as it comes. You see that? Uniquely, these spin and rise and fall at different speeds because they're heavier. Watch. Fast. Getting there. Yeah, now we're fast. I'm going to switch it off. stop slowing down. That's what people have been trying to emulate for years and years. There are some pedals that have a good go at it. Neo Ventilator is one that I'd recommend for guitar players. Even has a cab simulation on off. Not bad. Can't beat the real thing, and we'll find out why. Right, I'm back. The only difference, put a microphone there, right, so we can have a bit of a listen. It's a single mic. The treble comes out the top, the bass comes out the bottom. A single mic will give you a feel for what's going on here. Beautiful Mex Telecaster. It's absolutely gorgeous and a bargain for someone like me who's not really, as we shall discover, a guitar player. But here we go. What's the first thing we notice? The output is quite low. The reason why the output is low is the Hammond organ kicks out a massive amount of decibels, and it is matched to this cabinet. So when you put a guitar on it with -20, you find that you need a boost. Easy peasy. I've got down here a Micro Amp Plus. I've got the bass and treble set to middle of the road, because that's not what we're looking at here, but I have got a bit of gain. So, right, so sounds like an amp, doesn't it? But there is a chorus effect going on there, right? Told you I wasn't a player, but can you hear the chorus? Pretty sweet, isn't it? Pretty authentic too. Pretty authentic. 2 today I've done. Jeez. Okay, so what's with this switch? What's with this switch thing that I've got over here? This is fast and slow. So let me just get a hold of that. As I say, usually it's gaffered onto something, but we're not going to gaffer it to the neck of the guitar now, are we? But let's have a listen to Open. Hello, what's happening here? Now you've heard that sound, haven't you? Almost certain Led Zeppelin have used something like that. Jethro Tull have used it. A band called Semisonic in the 90s used it on a song called Secret Smile, by the sounds of it. Riffage and the like. So, what have we found so far? Well, so far we know that that's a really nice chorus sound, a unique tremolo sound, not like anything you've really heard before on a pedal or anything like that. But we also know it's a bit of a game to find the right one, to find it intact. So, if you're going into studio, there are a couple of things that you can ask for if you want a particular sound for a solo or a riff or an overdub. It adds a lovely bit of flavour to an overdub. And asking for a Leslie 145 or a Leslie 122 might get you a box that you can't use. So what do we do? Luckily, there's a new boy in town. It's a Leslie 3300. And because it's a new boy, you're going to get some interfaces and some line level stuff that you can use with guitar. Couple of drawbacks. You haven't got the valve power amp. You've got the good old standard sort of, well, I used to call solid state class something or other. I don't know, not a guitar player, but a good old transistor-y amplifier. And you've got that standard thing you get these days with a tube for the preamp. I would call it a 12AUX, I think. You would call it an ECC 83. So let's have a look at that and see how that sounds. Okay, welcome back. Set the microphone there. It's picking up mainly the top rotor, but it's a great microphone, so it should pick up all of it. I've actually got this set to my Hammond organ settings, but don't worry for the moment. All you know is there's a tube drive level now, and there's a tube mode as well. So you can go hard or soft with that tube. The softness is really what the ECC, what you would call the ECC 82 is in this 145, and the 83 you're well aware of what that does, aren't you? I'm sure. So. Couple of advantages, I guess. We can go to hard on the tube. Start to box up a bit. That MXR is a bit useful, isn't it? Maybe we won't do that, but. So, without really messing around with anything, certainly using a bit more of the preamp. In the old days, we just had to push this really hard, didn't we, to get anything. We've now got some beautiful tone, really. Tube mode down to a bit sweeter, I think. And also you've got a foot pedal for fast and slow, none of that kind of clicking buttons and stuff. And if you hold the pedal, you have a stationary, which you don't have on here natively. So just a straight, not moving sound. So, if you're looking for something interesting in the studio for an overdub, for a guitar solo, something that is unique in sound, the Leslie 3300 is probably the best for you. Yes, this is authentic, but you have to make sure you've got all the bits and bobs converted. But if you see one in the studio, ask your engineer. It might be converted, and why wouldn't you? The 3300 has got the preamp for a little bit of drive, which you all love, although you can use a gain stage pedal as well. So, whistle stop tour that. I thought for a change, I'd just talk to the guitar players out there, because there's plenty of them. I think if I throw a stone behind the house there's about 3 or 4. So there's plenty of people who would potentially be interested in this, and having seen these things either on stage or in a studio and not know what they are. So, Leslie speakers. I hope that's been useful. If it has, let me know, please. If it hasn't, also let me know. Like and subscribe. It makes a big difference to me. So thank you very much. Hope you've enjoyed this. I'll see you soon. Thanks.